Sean Carter, the Jigga Man, is under fire again. This time it's a little bit different. There are claims that he has an illegitimate son out there, and the son is trying to get him to participate in a paternity test to prove that Jay-Z is the papa. Now, the history of this is kind of weird. The man's name is Ramir. He is supposedly the son of Jay-Z. At least that's what his mama done told him. His mother was a lady named Wanda Satterwhite. She said that they had a relationship back in 1992. Now, here's the kicker. Here's the kicker. In 1992, she was approximately 16 years old. And she said that Mr. Carter and her had a brief encounter, a bedroom encounter, and he was around 22 years old. And for many of you, if you see the problem already, make sure you interact with the chat real quick. Make sure you put a one that you saw the age difference and the problem with the age difference, because that will come back later. So anyway, she gives birth to Ramir in 1993. And from then on, she starts to develop some medical issues, and she goes into, at one point, a medically induced coma and all that stuff. But before all that, she did not put Mr. Jay-Z as the father on the birth certificate, so most people would not assume that he was the dad. Eventually, what really happened was by 2010, the paternity idea starts to gain some traction. And there were some people, one in particular, Lily Colley, decided to start a paternity suit on his behalf. Now, that didn't go anywhere because Jay-Z's attorney, we know Jay-Z's got plenty of money, has decided that they're denying that, and the courts didn't take it any further. Now, they didn't stop there. Because it got dismissed in 11, another one was filed later on in 15 again, but this one was against Jay-Z's people, claiming fraudulent documents and obstructing of justice. By the time 2019 rolls around, Mr. Ramir's mother passed away due to illnesses related to heart failure. So then by the following year, he has decided to really jump in with both feet to try and get a rectification to the situation. Now, if you remember hearing about him around 2023, 24, when he really became vocally active on screen, telling people that he was indeed Jay-Z's son, his biggest hope was that eventually they could get called to do a paternity test. Thus far, Jay-Z has been unwilling to do exactly that. In fact, he submitted it to the Supreme Court in 2023. The Supreme Court tried sending it forward, and then they declined it before it got too far. Again, brings a civil one. Now, this is, to me, this is persistence on the side of Ramir. He really wants to get some answers. I can't blame the man. I'd want to know who my pops is too. So in 24, he files a civil complaint with the New Jersey court requesting a DNA test. The judge allows it in June of 24 to proceed forward, and then formally asks Jay-Z to respond to this paternity claim. Jay-Z filed another motion to dismiss the case. So Ramir and his guardian decides to go further again, decides to file a federal lawsuit accusing Jay-Z's team of fraud, bribery, and of course, obstructing justice again. Fast forward to this year, and now we have multiple celebrities joining in the fray to try and back up Ramir on his claims. Yeah, whatever their reasons are, really don't know. 50 Cent is one, and Nicki Minaj is another. They both have at least voiced their opinions based on tweets and statements out made in the ether about this case, hoping that Jay-Z goes through to get the paternity test. Now, June 18th is supposedly, July 18th is the deadline for Ramir to file any more legal motions and responses, and hopefully Jay-Z responds to those as well. And here is the alleged stuff part of this conversation. We believe the reason Jay-Z does not want to go through with the paternity test is not that he doesn't want to have a son. I don't think he cares how many kids he has. I think the biggest issue here is that he doesn't want nobody to know that the person was 16 and he was 22. You see, that opens a whole different can of worms. Because here's the thing, if the judge in this situation decides to request and demand a DNA test of Mr. Carter, there could be multiple other women who could say, I indeed had a time with Mr. Jay-Z, or in some cases, he had his way with me when I was underage. It's not the first time we've heard this about Jay-Z, right? You remember how multiple people said that when he would do music deals, he would have his way with the younger ones before they were signed? That was a rumor some time ago. And Beyonce got mad at that kind of procedure and eventually kind of subsided, but then it picked back up. And the last one he did that to, I think they said was Aaliyah or something like that. Remember? That was his MO. Now, if this proves to be true and he does take this DNA test and it does prove that Ramir is his son, that also proves his propensity to go and deal with underage girls. Now, if that gets to be true, and the rumors start to gain traction that he did that with his clients, people he signed, will they come forward and say, yes, that is true? In order to get my contract, I had to sleep with Jay-Z, and this was the coercive manners in which he did it, and I can prove that I signed on the dotted line at a certain age. You see where this can go. Now, whether or not the judge is waiting to see what Jay-Z does and see if he's going to have to demand a DNA test, because I'm going to make my prediction. Jay-Z ain't taking no DNA test. He's not doing it. There is no way he's going to voluntarily take that DNA test. Not with this accusation on board. Nope. Look, I know Jay-Z's many things, but a dummy ain't one of them. He's not going to put his name to paper and put his DNA on paper and say that I did indeed have my way sexually with a 16-year-old when I was 22. He's not going to claim that. He knows what will happen if he does that. That is the end of the Jigga Man's career. End. It is over. Over. Rock Nation go hit rock bottom. I'm telling you right now. You want to see a well just dry up? It's going to be there because of this. We look, Diddy ain't gonna have nothing on him at this point. Trust and believe me, there would be way more evidence, way more on Jay-Z than there ever was with Diddy when it comes to underage people. Why? If this is proven true, this is tangible proof that it was a 16-year-old. Dates and time matter. If he was 21, 19, and she was 16, it'd be illegal. Regardless of how you look at it, it's illegal. And then if he is older and he's still doing it with 16, 15, and 17-year-olds, still illegal. Statutes and limitations be damned. He's going to find at least one, maybe two, that he's done that with within the last 10 years. It'll be, when I say it'll be done, it'll be done. So I can see why the man ain't going to take no paternity testing. I will fight that tooth, and I have the money to do it. I will keep denying it, putting motion in front of motion. As long as the cows have breath in my farm, I will never take that DNA test. To however the kid feels, I don't care if he's my son. I really don't care. I'm trying to save my empire. I'm trying to save my money, and I'm trying to save my reputation. I don't care if you're my kid. That's Jay-Z. You know how we can tell that? By the fact that he won't just go ahead and take the stinking DNA test. If you know you didn't sleep with a 16-year-old, why wouldn't you just take the test? If the allegations are, Jay-Z, Mr. Carter, if the allegations are this kid is of a certain age, and for this to be the age, you would have to be at this age, and the mother would have to be at that age, and you know for a fact you never slept with a 16-year-old, just take the test. But you can't, because that would open too many floodgates, and your whole career will be over. Then Beyonce gonna bounce with about half your entire money. Is it gonna be over with? It's over. I don't know exactly how people are going to take to him. Maybe just maybe. You might think to yourself, that'd be somewhere you could do it. It'd be fine. No one should be upset for me. Um, to me, hey, listen to me. It seems as though that you have a lot riding on this. A lot. You have a lot riding on this. Consider this, Mr. Jay-Z. Consider that you do take into account certain laws in certain states. Let's say that's what you do. You say to yourself, well, I'm safe in this state. All of your work isn't done in just one state, is it? Now, hear me out. If you go to, say, the laws and you're in New York, New Jersey, and it say there's a legal limit on that, and it's within the range you like to mess with. But the person said that it didn't take place in New York and it didn't take place in New Jersey. Now, with the paternity test, it says that you are fine with doing it with a 16-year-old. That person can easily get you on charges where it's not legal. I can see why you won't take the test. I can see it. Anyway, if anything out there, that the people who are supporting Ramir, or even those who aren't, and they're popular people, they all have at least a dog in the fight. 50 Cent don't got he's not really buddy buddy chum chum with Jay-Z, but you know how he trolls everybody. Um, he's a kind of backing Ramir. This is what Mrs. Nicki Minaj said. Jay-Z called me to settle this karmic debt, and anyone still calling him HOV Hove will answer to God for the blasphemy. I'm not sure Nikki can speak about God, but hey, at least she's saying something. At least she's saying something. Because don't forget, she says that Rock Nation owes her like $100 or $200 million, something like that. A lot of money. A lot of money. Anyway, look again. This is a big deal. It's not some small deal, because if we consider the Diddy case big, we have to consider this bigger. There, like I said, this is a more tangible proof than anything else we've seen for Diddy. Whether you consider New York or New Jersey rules to be legal at 16 or not legal at 16, the Jigga Man's been all over. He's been in California. He has been in New York. He has been in Florida. He's been everywhere. While his entity might be located in one specific state, that is in no way, shape, form, or fashion going to stop people from coming forward from different states where he may have traveled to, trying to test for talent to say, yes, I wanted to have a contract with Jay-Z and I didn't get my contract, but he promised me something. And when I went to his tent, went to his green room, he had his way with me, abused me sexually, and then never heard from him again. This will open floodgates. Jay-Z could be on the verge of absolute collapse if this DNA test proves that he's the father. Of course, if it proves that he's not the father, he's off the hook completely and he's done. And he can countersue the guy for mental turmoil and get rid of him altogether, which Jay-Z might do. But the lack of willingness to take the DNA test tells us a lot more than anything else. He knew the age, he understands at least the imagery of it, and he knows what could come as a result of it. That's why he won't do it. Now, if Ramir can prove to the courts that's why he has a suspicion why he's not doing it, I guarantee you that he can make the judge force Jay-Z to take that test. If you can bring this to the judge, Ramir, that tells him, look, the reason why Jay-Z's unwilling is not because he's not the father, it's because he's concerned about the age and what it would be, we need to have this DNA test. Find the right judge that's sympathetic to that, it's over for Jay-Z. If it proves that is his kid. Time will tell. As soon as we know more, we'll let you know. We will be keeping an eye on this one because I think this one could end up being, like you said, bigger than Puff, simply because of what it entails and what kind of track record proof you can go back and look at. Because this one includes DNA. This is a bigger deal. So when we find out more, we'll hit you up. We'll drop that information as soon as we get it. In the meantime, and in between time, Jigga Man, give the man at least a little reprieve and give him his DNA test. And if you are the pops, man up and be a pop. Be a daddy, man. At minimum, do your job. At minimum, do something right. But at the same time, I understand why you won't. We'll let you know when we find out more information.